Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Colony Drop, a podcast about the long-running anime series Mobile Suit Gundam. My name is Brian and my partner is Isaac. This episode will continue right where episode 1 left off, talking about how you can watch Gundam on Blu-ray. So Gundam Fight all set, ready, go! So that brings me to the second way to watch Gundam right now, which is Blu-ray. And so when I was researching this, I realized that basically Sunrise, the company who owns Gundam, they have done a phenomenal job over the last 4 years of putting almost every series out on Blu-ray at a very affordable price. So the longer series are mostly available. They generally come in two packs, like a part 1 and a part 2, and usually each part is anywhere from $30 to $50. So for a whole series of like 50 episodes for about $100 on Blu-ray, that's pretty good. I think that's a reasonable price, especially given the prices that we used to pay for Gundam DVDs, where
oh boy,
I think something like 8th MS Team, which is 13 episodes, I think that was on 4 DVDs. So at the time that would have been $100 to $120, depending on, maybe even more, depending on where you bought your DVDs. So if you're telling me I can get a full series of 50 episodes for that price, on a better format, I think it's a great deal. And how this came to be is basically Bandai America / Bandai Entertainment, whatever. There's a complicated series of companies, but basically the subsidiary of Bandai that was releasing Gundam series in America to the home video market, they shut their home video department down in 2012, 2013 to focus on licensing anime to other companies instead. And as a result of that, Sunrise basically said, okay, well, they're not selling it anymore. We'll sell it ourselves. So they've been selling it, or they've been releasing it with, I think, with the help of Right Stuff. Right Stuff is an older anime publisher and online retailer that's been around for a really long time. So I'd kind of, if you're going to buy this stuff on Blu-ray, I'd kind of recommend that you just buy it from Right Stuff, because they're the ones releasing it with Sunrise. So, we want more Gundam. So if you're going to buy it, why not just buy it from the person who is teaming up with Sunrise to release all of it over here?
Yeah, that also helps you avoid, getting a bootleg or something not the best quality.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they're releasing it, when you buy it from them that they're gonna give you the good product. So, but yeah, pretty much every series is available on Blu-ray in America. There are there are a lot of interesting exceptions. So I think we can learn a lot by looking at what's not on Blu-ray. So the first item that I think is funny is G Savior. The G Savior was a how would you describe
G Savior?
Yeah, G
Savior. Somebody at Bandai thought it was a good idea to maybe market Gundam to Americans by making a live action movie with American actors, or Canadians too, I guess. And just using computer animated combat scenes and using this was the early 2000s.
It came out in 2000.
Yeah, so man, the animation is just so dated and doesn't look good at all. It's like below Sci-Fi Channel original movie level.
Yep. Yeah. Look, I mean, I think G Savior was Bandai's attempt to make a live-action Gundam movie to see would this work, and they did that in 2000. So you are gonna
a resounding no.
It is 20 years old. It takes place. They set the story way later in the Universal Century timeline after all of the previous series had taken place, to kind of avoid. I honestly think they did that because they didn't really know if it was going to work, and they didn't really want to. Maybe they didn't want to commit too much to it, because once you publish the work, it's part of the canon for the most part.
No, it's not, because nobody cares anything about any canon established by G Savior.
So exactly. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because the canon for the question of whether or not G Savior is canon is somewhat now questionable. There's a lot you can go look online, and there's a lot of people who will argue about it.
Wait. Who are the people arguing
Oh,
in
like if you
defense
just
of
go,
G Savior?
you can go on the Wikipedia, or or the fandom wiki, and look at all the comments back and forth about people trying to edit. What should it say? Is it canon? Is it not? And the argument's really funny because some people say, look, Sunrise hasn't directly said that it's not canon, therefore it is canon. But then there are people that say Sunrise publishes these different guidebooks, which I don't remember the name of the guidebooks, but the kind of official Gundam books, and they kind of like leave out G Savior, like they just don't put G Savior in the book. So it's kind of this like confirmation by not saying anything. But then some people say, oh, it's just not canon because it's a bad movie, which is basically what you just said. And look,
what? I have something that trumps all this. All right. Actually, this will be a spoiler for Turn A. Spoiler alert. If you're watching Turn A, turn off this podcast right now. All right. We never see G Savior at the end of Turn A when they're showing Dark History. And they show all the Gundams and all the mobile suits from the past series. Guess what? It's not there? The G Savior.
Fancy that. I will say that G Savior was released in 2000. Turn A was released in 99 and 2000. So it is theoretically possible that they were being made at the same time, and they could have included G Savior at the end of Turn A, knowing that they were going to release it. So you're right, it's not there.
They could have done it, but they didn't.
So this is my opinion. Look, at one point it was clearly part of the canon because they released it. But now, guess what? They're not selling it. Sunrise went out and put everything on Blu-ray that they could, for the most part. You know what they didn't put on Blu-ray? G Savior. So in my mind, that's confirmation enough. If they're not selling it to you anymore, they don't want you to watch it. So
for some more background to our listeners, G Savior is to Gundam what the Star Wars Holiday Special is to Star Wars. All right.
That's a pretty apt comparison. Also, your sci-fi movie comparison. It honestly felt like you were watching a Sci-Fi Network original.
Worse. It was. I don't know. It was like the CW put together like a sci-fi movie or something.
Yeah.
UPN from back in the day.
Yep. Okay, so my next one that I think is funny that's not on Blu-ray is SD Gundam, and they were I'm going to split this into two parts. There's the original SD Gundam, which stands for Super Deformed. It's like a more of a cartoony, funny thing. It's really made for the Japanese audience. They were made. They've released a bunch of them in Japan. They're really hard to get a hold of them. They've never been released in America. I don't think it would really work here, a lot of the jokes, but they're basically from like the late 80s to the early 90s.
For anyone that hasn't seen one before, hasn't seen an SD Gundam, Super Deformed Gundam, don't just assume, don't go off the name completely. It's not literally super deformed. These aren't like, hideous Gundams or Zaku's kind of, shuffling around. It's called Super Deformed, but they should be called like Chibi or Cute Gundam because they have like big heads and little bodies. They're very cartoonish and very,
they're really fun looking.
Yeah, they're the Muppet Babies of Gundam.
That's perfect. Yeah, so the original like Japanese SD Gundam stuff is not on Blu-ray in America, and I wouldn't expect it to be, frankly. But there was a sort of attempt in the early 2000s to make a SD Gundam show for American audiences. It was a Japanese U.S. co-production called Superior Defender Gundam Force, and note that Superior Defender could be shortened to SD or SD Gundam Force, and the character models were designed in the same way as the SD Gundam stuff was, but with the exception that it used CG. And I remember when you and I started watching Superior Defender Gundam Force, because that came on Toonami at some point, and I remember we were really hopeful for the first 2 episodes, and then it just became real kiddie, real fast.
It was pretty much Power Rangers with Gundam.
Yeah. It just,
not that Power Rangers is bad, but not the cup of tea we were looking for.
Yeah, it's not something I think that if you were like a fan of
Yeah.
Gundam Wing or Mobile Suit Gundam at the time,
Yeah.
which were both airing, that you would watch that and be like, oh, this is what I wanted. It was definitely aimed at children.
Yeah. If you were a
And
kid, it was probably awesome.
yeah, probably good. So what ended up happening was the first 26 episodes of that show were aired in America 4 months before it aired in Japan. But then the back half, 26, they were never aired in America because because the first 26 were aired in America, and then the full 52 episodes ran in Japan. And they got it, at the time, it was the worst rated Gundam show that had ever aired in Japan. So
Jeez.
basically, because of those bad ratings, they canceled it in America, and they only released the second 26 episodes after the fans petitioned Sunrise, I guess, to release them on DVD. But even though they came out on DVD, that show was not re-released on Blu-ray by Sunrise. So while I give Sunrise a pass for not putting the original SD Gundam on Blu-ray for America, because they probably think it doesn't have an audience, and maybe it doesn't. I don't know if anyone would buy it, but I would like it if they threw it on YouTube subbed or something. I would watch it, because
Why not?
there's a lot of in jokes
fun.
for longtime fans or something like that.
Very lighthearted.
Yeah, but I think it's telling that Sunrise did not go the extra mile and put Superior Defender Gundam Force on Blu-ray. I think they maybe want to forget that experiment. So
say what you will about Sunrise, but they cut their losses the moment they see them happening.
Yeah, they know where to bob and weave for sure.
They cut those losses with a beam saber.
Yep, exactly. So I think the biggest omission though is Gundam Seed, Seed Destiny, and then the third Seed.
The first Seed's really all that matters.
Agree. Yeah.
It's literally a play-by-play of the 1 Year War, and it might as well be over when that series ends.
So Gundam Seed, Seed Destiny, and the OVA side story CE-73 Stargazer, which I think is about the Strike Noir Gundam. Have you ever seen that one? It's a pretty neat one. Pretty neat looking one. So I think this is the biggest omission. They have not released this on Blu-ray in America. And I think this seems to be because they are promising to redub the show with a new dub. I read somewhere that Right Stuff said that dub should be out in 2019, but that I don't think that happened because I don't see these DVDs anywhere. And I think it's pretty noticeable that didn't happen because when you go to watch it on YouTube or Crunchyroll, the only offering is sub. They're not even offering you the old dub. I don't know if Sunrise either doesn't have the rights to the dub or they just don't like the dub or what, but it seems like they're taking their time with this one. And I think it's because of what Isaac is saying, that this was what I would consider to be Sunrise's most honest attempt to, replace or reboot Universal Century for a modern audience. And I think whenever they release it, they want the dub to be the best it can be. And because Seed came out in 2002, that would mean it's about to be 20 years old soon, which frankly blows my mind. Doesn't seem that old. But I would imagine, and I have there's no evidence of this, but I would imagine that at some point, whether it's the 20th anniversary or the 25th, there will be a Seed revival and maybe a new series.
Oh, God.
I mean, don't you think that's logical?
I don't think it carries the weight warranting that compared to either a new series where they could put their time and effort or something you see.
Yeah. I mean, I do think they like to. I don't think they like to put all their eggs in one basket though with UC. I think we've seen them do like Build Fighters, like Iron Blooded Orphans. I feel like they always try to do UC something and something else.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a back and forth, left foot, right foot.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying there'd be a full series, but I can't see the 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary passing without some sort of some sort of acknowledgement to the Seed series, because they put a lot of effort into the Seed.
But I mean, that series kind of ran its course. No one's really, I guess, clamoring for it, and also, I mean, nothing really new has come out too recently.
I think some of those characters still do really well in those like character popularity polls, though. So I could definitely see. I don't know. I think it's possible. That's my theory. I have no there's no backing to that theory. That's just me reading into it. But it does seem like, look, they're taking the extra time to redub a series from 2002. If they didn't care about it, they could just put the old dub on there and put it out, or just put out the DVD put out the Blu-ray with just sub only.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to watch with the new dub. I watched it subbed, so I never actually watched the original dub. But when it does come out, I think it'd be interesting to do a rewatch. I really enjoyed the original Seed.
Me too. I loved it dubbed. I'm pro dub for anyone listening.
in case you couldn't tell.
Also, I wanted to mention, anyone not too familiar with Gundam yet, UC is almost, double the seriousness and tone compared to a lot of other universes, which can be a little bit more, they can kind of go in their own way. But UC generally sticks pretty close to a serious, grounded tone in most of the episodes. Not always, but most of the time. Other series, some can be more serious, some can be pretty loose,
Especially Gundam Double Zeta.
Yeah. Mobile Fighter G Gundam.
Build Fighters, yeah.
Build Fighters, SD, all that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think those three were my notable omissions from Blu-ray. But also in doing this, I think I found a few other things that I think are really interesting. So there was one show that I guess it wasn't a show. There's one movie I've always wanted to watch, and it's called Gundam Neo Experience 0087 Green Diver. But there's basically no way to watch this because it's a planetarium show, and it came out in 2001 at some planetarium in Japan, or
of course
in Japan. I forget where it actually came out.
The Osaka Prefecture planetarium.
Yeah. So it came out in 2001 at a planetarium type thing in Japan, and there's never been a DVD release because you can't put a planetarium show on a normal TV.
Watch me try.
Yeah. So I think the best you can do is, I think somewhere out there is some fan took like cam footage, probably aiming his phone like at the ceiling.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know when the last time that this thing was available. Like, you could probably look it up, but it came out in 2001. I doubt they've been showing it for the last 20 years straight. But I'm thinking maybe, though, that now that VR is a thing, they could release it. I would still like to watch it. Wow. And the reason I would like to watch it is this was the first appearance of Amuro Ray, the main character of the original Universal Century series, piloting a Zeta Gundam in a special color scheme of it's white with purple stripes, has a little A symbol on the shoulder, and although they didn't say in the movie that it was Amuro, it does use the same voice actor who always voices Amuro was the voice actor. Who that could be? Yeah, who could it be? But anyway, I think that's really cool, and they made a really cool model kit of it, which I own. So anyway, I think that's a cool series. It someday would be cool to see. But there's been no DVD release ever on normal or Blu-ray, so that one is still missing. The next one that I think is interesting is the Gundam Evolve series. Did you ever watch any of those, Isaac?
No, I didn't. Are they any good? Or?
Yeah, they're pretty neat. They're 15 shorts that basically show alternate scenes or side stories across like all the different timelines. Most of them are from Universal Century, but there's one from like G Gundam, one from Wing Gundam. They were released in 2001, 2007 as basically a like way to show off CGI for the most part. So here, these are not on Blu-ray, but they are on DVD, and apparently. The reason is that there are no HD masters of this show. So basically, the show was just not made in HD. So there's no point to having a Blu-ray. Although I did not check to see if there were any Japanese Blu-rays, but I didn't see any right away. I remember downloading these off of like Kazaa or some service.
Kazaa, what's that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was no way to get it over here. But now there is one. You can buy all 15 in one DVD in
Tell
America.
Our fans about Napster.
Napster, yeah. I doubt anyone. If you're below the age of like 25, you definitely don't know what Kazaa is for sure. But yeah, I think my favorite one my favorite Gundam Evolved short was this short where 3 Zeta Gundams from Karaba. That's like the how would you describe Karaba? Like the Earth
Karaba
version of the Aug.
Exactly, it's the Earth-based resistance version of the Aug.
Yeah, Aug. Aug. Imagine if you had to say Aug all the time. Like they're just.
I can't believe they didn't come up with a different name. That's it. We'll put that up on our list of bad names in Gundam.
Yeah, Gundam has a lot of complicated names, which we were talking about off air, about how hard it is for us to say these names on air that we maybe never pronounced out loud before. But yeah, basically there's these 3 Zeta Gundams piloted, one by Amuro in the same white and purple Zeta Gundam. Well, again, actually, they don't actually name the people by name, but they call him White Unicorn, and it's the same Amuro voice actor wearing, using the Amuro suit. So anyway, it's clearly Amuro.
No one in the Federation pilots anything like that except Amuro.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then there's another Zeta that's painted gold. It has the same gold coating as the Hyakushiki from Zeta Gundam. That one's piloted by former Xeon Ace pilot Shin Matsunaga, who used to be called the White Wolf, but in that movie he's called the Gray Wolf. Which I actually think is probably just because Amuro's name is White Unicorn, and they didn't want two pilots named White something, so they were forced to change one, and they were like, well, Amuro's a bigger character than Shin, so that sucks for you, Shin. We're changing your name to Gray Wolf, but
maybe he doesn't take himself too seriously, so he's getting up in age, so
maybe
he'll just change his name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good excuse. And then the third one is Red. And it was supposed to be piloted by Johnny Ryden, who's one of my favorite characters. He was a former Xeon Ace pilot, as part of the Chimera Corps. But instead, it was supposed to be piloted by him, but he's not a new type, and so he couldn't use it. So they gave it to this other new type girl. I told Isaac I wasn't going to try to pronounce her name, but it's Yuri Agisa.
A for effort.
Yeah, so she apparently has like some sort of crush on Amuro. It's been a while since I watched that short, but anyway, it's really cool because three customized Zeta Gundams, and they all team up to fight a mobile armor. So I think it's pretty neat. And they had limited editions of these Zeta Gundam model kits, which are pretty hard to get. You had to import them.
Spoiler alert, and word of warning to any mobile armor pilots: you always lose to Gundam.
Yeah, especially if you're fighting Amuro Ray. So you should probably just run the other way.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd learn. They'd just see a symbol, and be like, I'm out, and just fly away. But
the engineering team for like the mobile armors are like the most determined people in the Gundam universe.
They give them like one more pincer or like one more booster, but it never.
All right, guys, I got it this time. We'll make it bigger and we'll put claw arms.
How could we lose?
This time we'll put a backwards facing beam cannon.
They'll never see it coming.
They can't get behind us.
Yeah. So even though that one's not on Blu-ray, I think it's a cool purchase if you're able to get it on normal DVD, just because there's a lot of interesting shorts on there. Particularly the one with the Zetas. That's my favorite. Another one that I think you and I both did not know about this, to my knowledge, but I think we would both be interested in watching it, is as part of the 8th MS Team Blu-ray release in Japan in 2013, they included a special short film, a new one of the 8th MS Team. It takes place between episodes 9 and 10 of the original series. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know any place to watch it other than the Blu-ray. When we bought the DVDs originally, or when we watched the series, that didn't exist, so it wasn't on those DVDs. So I've never actually seen it. But any new 8th MS Team, I think, is neat and super welcome.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, just the fact that Sunrise obviously likes the 8th MS Team to go back and make another. I don't know if it's like a half episode or what, but to re-engage with something that old is pretty neat. So
it was such a well done side story.
Yeah, it's great, and I did read that all the original voice cast comes back. Maybe not for the dub. It's probably not dubbed, but at least for the sub. I think I watched that one dubbed, so it's kind of a shame. But
yeah, dub was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great dub. And then the last thing I want to mention is that there are 3 series that have what are called an Ultra Edition, which are basically like the awesome collector edition that if you bought a lot of normal DVDs back in the day, you would definitely remember collector's editions. How many collector edition DVD sets did you have back then, Isaac? Lord of the Rings, probably.
Oh boy, God,
That was all the rage.
dozens.
Yeah, you always had to get the collector edition.
Yeah, that's how you knew you were a real fan, because that had the best behind the scenes featurettes.
Yep, that's right. And so they've continued that tradition, and they have so the 3 series that have Ultra editions are Wing, Double O, and G, and they have some really cool extras, which they're expensive. They're definitely about double or triple the price of the normal set. But for example, Wing comes with 5 art cards, 10 art cards, 3 posters, a 5-piece metal pin set, and a 180-page hardbound art book.
Wow.
Which is pretty neat. Like that's a huge art book.
That's a ton of stuff.
Yeah. The 001 is pretty similar. It comes with a 236-page hardback art book, 4 double-sided art cards, a fabric poster, a Haro keychain, and a large car magnet. So again, that's a lot of extra stuff. 230-page art book.
Wow.
And the G Gundam one, which are probably my favorite extras. I don't know who designed these, but they should be promoted. They include a hardback art book, Domon's headband, a Tequila Gundam shot glass, and Shuffle Alliance patches, like for your clothes.
I thought you were about to say playing cards.
No. Although that would be really neat too.
Yeah.
Also a G Gundam lanyard and some more art cards. But I think those are pretty neat. I was really close to adding all these Blu-ray sets to my cart, since I don't own any Blu-ray Gundam DVDs.
I'm surprised you didn't get the Mobile Fighter G Gundam.
Yeah, I was really, really close to ordering the G Gundam one. I may go do it. I need to buy a Blu-ray player. I don't have one.
I can't believe they still call it Tequila Gundam.
That's why Mobile Fighter G Gundam is one of the best series. So
in the US dub, didn't they switch it to Cactus Gundam? I think they did.
They probably at least did for TV. I wonder if you watch the DVD if it's Tequila Gundam, but I'm not sure.
Tequila does taste good, I must say. I just don't think it was the wisest name choice.
Probably not, but Japanese they get away with a lot more stuff on TV.
They say what they want to say.
Yeah, maybe that'll be a whole episode too. Like, what was your favorite Gundam in Mobile Fighter G Gundam? Because there's a lot of good ones, like Windmill Gundam.
Oh god, that one that's in its own category.
Which one do you think is worse? Not worse, but
probably the one that looked like a fish.
I think was that Mermaid Gundam? I think it was Mermaid.
I think there was another one that looked literally like a fish.
Yeah,
I think Butler Gundam. The Butler Gundam was terrible.
The Butler Gundam. I don't know if I remember the Butler Gundam.
It was very briefly. God, that show.
It was like Cobra Gundam, right? It looked like a snake or something like that.
Yeah, the Mummy Gundam or whatever too. And
oh yeah. I don't know. That was a fun watch. If you like Super Robot series,
It's definitely lighthearted, but I don't know. I enjoyed it in some ways, in other ways I'm like, wow, really?
It's an interesting experience for sure. Yeah. So that concludes my adventure into looking up how does one watch Gundam today.
We hope you enjoyed it, listener. We hope you maybe took some directions from it and find your way onto your next great Gundam series model or lore adventure.
Particularly if it involves Tequila Gundam.
Yeah, we'll do shots.
I think if we ever do a live show, we have to take shots out of a Tequila Gundam shot glass.
Probably, but we should do it where we take shots after something has to happen on screen.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, what a beam saber cuts a mobile suit in half, or
yeah, or a reactor explodes, or some bystanders are killed. Yeah,
we hear the Azaku or a Xeon mono eye make that noise.
Yeah, the vroom. Yep. Oh, I look forward to that. We'll be really drunk really fast.
Yeah.
All right, Isaac, why don't you give him the spiel?
Sure. All right. Well, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment below as far as how you got into Gundam, what series you're watching right now, if you are watching a series, or anything you have that you'd like us to answer. Questions, thoughts, ideas. We'll get back to you on that.
All right, and if you disagree with our advice, let us know how you think you should get into Gundam.
And make it a good argument.
And it better involve Tequila Gundam.
Ooh, yeah.
And or just tequila.
That's like calling the Russians Gundam like vodka Gundam.
Yeah, I don't know if the Russians would mind, though.
Probably not. Well, I don't think the Russians really mind anything, right?
Yeah. What was theirs called? Bolt Gundam, right? I think.
Yeah,
that could use a better name.
I thought it was like Magnetron Gundam or something like that. I think you might be right. Bolt.
I think
It had
it
like
needs
the
to be
mace,
like
right? The big swinging.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it should have been like
Gulag Gundam.
KG Gundam B or something.
KG Gundam B. Oh god, that's awesome.
Like its model number could be like KGB dash whatever.
Brian, I think we need to write that down into our Gundam alternate universe series.
That'll be my Gundam build fighter that I enter into the
KG Gundam B.
KG Gundam B.
He has like a file on every pilot.
He assassinates him. Yeah, there's a lot of material there. Look, Sunrise. If you're looking to create a sequel to Mobile Fighter G Gundam, you know where to find Isaac and I. Tequila Gundam will rise again, and he will team up with KG Gundam B.
What would a Gundam be like if it was built in the Soviet Union?
I don't know. I think it would have to like use a sickle and hammer as weapons.
Oh, that's pretty awful. A beam, sickle, and hammer.
Yeah. Oh, of course. You have to have a curved beam first of all.
Wait, so is like America gonna be the ones building like the mono eye mobile suits?
I don't know. I think you would just do one with like it could have like Trump's hair.
Trump's hair. What was this like now, or is this like Soviet?
I don't know. It could be a mix,
We'll have like a Reagan Gundam. Reagan Gundam smash.
What would you call it? Like trickle down Gundam?
Trickle down. NATO fighter G Gundam.
Yeah, NATO fighter. Oh, that would be awesome.
Free market fist. We went on a tangent.
That's all right.
Tune in next time for more Gundam action. We'll drop some colonies, blast some beams, and blow up some cockpits. I don't know.
Took a real weird turn at the end there. For all the listeners, before taping the show, Isaac ate half of a cake.
I didn't eat half of a cake. I had one
quarter of a cake. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. You could have just made a big slice. Well, how big was the slice as a percentage of the overall cake?
I'll say a tenth.
Oh wow! All right, your character will be Cake Gundam.
Probably pre-diabetic Gundam.
It has a little monitor, like in the chest.
It's a little insulin pump you have to aim for to disable him.
Yeah. If you break his tube, he like goes into like shock.
The Gundam just seizes up and falls over.